What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to SpearNation.com. Appreciate y'all support for being here. I know it's kind of dark from where I am right now. It's because my power went out. I do apologize in advance here, but today we are going to be ranking NFL teams' defenses for the next upcoming season, and I'll work on this video when the power does come back on. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Anyway, guys, like I said, make sure you guys hit the like and that subscribe button. We do appreciate y'all. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys follow me on Discord and follow me on Twitch. We do appreciate it. If you guys haven't signed up for our 2v2 Rocket League tournament coming up, and if you guys haven't checked out our merch shop, we'll go ahead and get to that in just a few moments here. Like I said, thank you guys so much for you guys understanding. Thank you guys so much for being patient with us. But anyway, here, let's go ahead and hop on to the video. Let's go.
You guys haven't checked out our shop yet, make sure to please do so. The link will be in my description. Also, you guys can check it out on our Discord. If you guys haven't joined that yet, make sure to please do so as well. And make sure you guys hit this redeem code up here on your final purchase or whatever deal that we're on. Right now, we're on 25% off the shop. That will change eventually, so make sure to go check that out. Get every 25% off all the store or whatever code that we're on, or whatever redemption that we're on there, and you guys can get some awesome stuff. We have shirts, we have t-shirts, we have aprons, we have long sleeve shirts, we have coffee mugs, we have pants, we have matching outfits, all that fun stuff. And you guys can get it in 3 different logos here. We have the Money Lord Tradition logo, we have the Money Lord Nation logo, and we have the Money Lord Sign logo all by itself. And we have everything available for you guys in all different platforms, all that stuff. Like I said, if you guys already hit my link in the description, check out our store. I really do appreciate y'all, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get things going here.
One more thing for you guys. If you guys are interested in joining in our Rocket League tournaments for a championship series, make sure you guys please do so. This is going to be a lot of fun. So basically what this is we're going to have a full season of Rocket League tournaments, and we're going to do 5 tournaments a season here. As you guys see here, we have a fall showdown, Halloween clash, winter showdown, spring showdown, and our summer showdown. We're going to have 5 tournaments, which is the summer showdown will be the big tournament. We'll have 5 tournaments a season where you guys should be able to compete. We'll have a tournament champions for every single tournament. We'll have a season leaderboard of players that are in the tournament and participating, and then we'll have a season champion at the end of each season. We're going to be doing this every single year, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And depending on what tournament we're on or whatever segment that we're on this, really do if you guys hit my link in the description, you guys can start signing up for the tournament. Like I said, everything is free entry. Make sure you guys please sign up. Really do appreciate it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys there. Alrighty folks, so we are back here at the list, and everything is pretty simple, just like last video. Nothing has changed. So without further ado, I think we're gonna go ahead and move forward because we have nothing to explain about this list. So let's go ahead and keep it moving. Miami, yeah, Miami, they're gonna be pretty rough defensively. I'm not really expecting this unit to be good. I mean, they were somewhat decent last year, especially down the secondary, but this year they're not gonna be a good defensive team this year. I can almost guarantee you that. They're probably gonna be one of the worst, if not the worst, defensive teams in the league last year. There's a couple other teams that we're gonna talk about here in a minute that are going to be pretty, or I think is going to be pretty bad, but Dolphins, I'm just not expecting them to do well against good opposing offenses like Buffalo, Los Angeles, they play Dallas, Cincinnati. I think they're going to allow close to almost 30 points a game, honestly. Now we got the Raiders. The Raiders are a tough one because I think the Raiders don't have the worst unit on defense. You know, they're still led by Max Crosby, even though I do think he is a heck of a player. But at the same time, like the Vegas Raiders, their defense wasn't too good last year. I mean, they allowed a couple last year. Penalties really got them last year. I'm not going to put them at complete terrible, but I'm going to put them in that ideal because I don't think the Raiders have enough talent to really overcome, because it kind of felt like for years Miles Crosby always needs help on that defensive side of the ball, and then the Raiders only have one true guy that they can really go to. So I'm just going to say it's not ideal for them. Baltimore always has a pretty good defensive team. Now last year they won't because like I said in the offensive side of the video, last year they were hurt and nobody was healthy, nobody was able to play. But overall, as a defense, they're when they're fully healthy, I think that defense is actually pretty good. They got some studs out there. They definitely got some people that I like on that side of the ball. But it doesn't it so weird that Baltimore just kind of feels like from Baltimore they're always above average defensive team. What's also not kind of like going into terrible category. I would have been pretty no. That's how like teams like Seattle beat us because we didn't have the secondary. But now since we got Kobe Durant. Now, yes, I know we had him, but we have Trey McDuffie and the other secondary that we got from the Chiefs. Trey McDuffie and him. I think he's going to be a big key piece of this guy. Also, we could get Myles Garrett. We got him. We could potentially get Aaron Donald got back. So like the Rams should be an elite defensive unit this year because we just have so much talent on now on the defensive side of the ball, and now feel like we did this offseason took care of our cornerback and safety issues. That I think that this should be an all around great defense to be around. So I expect the Rams to be a better defense than what they were last year. Now we have Washington. Washington's not really known to being a good defensive team, man. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think Washington's gonna be good defensively this year. Now, only if they do change a little bit of the scheme, but based off what I saw the last couple seasons and based on what I'm kind of expecting going into this year, they haven't really done too much to really convince me that they're going to be that good of a defensive team here. So I think that defense is actually going to be pretty rough this year. Now we got Cincinnati. Cincinnati is just another team that just don't really have a defense. I mean, they made some moves this offseason. I mean, they made a couple moves, but at the same time, I don't think it's enough moves. I think they kind of needed to make more moves than what they're doing right now. But Cincinnati, they just kind of feel like one of those teams that is they're just heavily relying on the offensive side of the ball to win games for them. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I mean that could definitely be a possibility. And rely on your offense to win games for you. But down the stretch, at some time that your defense is going to have to be somewhat related to good. And Cincinnati does not have that. Now we got Dallas. Dallas is a weird one here because I did hear that Dallas's defense got a lot better this offseason, but at the same time, like what I said about the Wizards in last video about the NBA video and stuff like that, like I need to see able to believe it because last year Dallas's defense was really, really bad. So things are trending upwards by saying that they have seen some differences in Dallas, but at the same time, like I said, I just need to see it to believe it. I'm gonna put them at not ideal. Like I said, I heard some stuff, but like I said, we can't guarantee that their defense is just fixed just yet. We're gonna have to see it on the football field first. Now we got the Jets. No, the Jets defense sucks. I think it is going to suck again this year. Listen, the Jets defense is so bad that you guys remember when Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner left the team last year. He went to Indy. The Jets didn't even force. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is an actual stat, which it is actually a pretty bad stat when you have to admit it here. But I think it's a pretty actual stat where the Jets actually have not forced a single turnover since I think it was since week 11. I think week 11 was the first time they forced a turnover all season last year. Yeah, like if you have that kind of stat line, something like that, then you everybody knows that your defense sucks. Now we got the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't have a bad defense. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but at the same time, it's not the worst defense that you can have. I mean, the Chiefs always kind of feel like a decent defense. So it just kind of feels like it. It's like sometimes Chris Jones. Now they did lose some guys this offseason, especially their two top corners and safeties. But I think the Chiefs are going to be all right. They still have their defensive core almost. Chris Jones is still going to lead that team. I kind of in that department, I still kind of feel pretty good about them because I do think they have a great defensive coach. But like I said, the Chiefs, they don't have the greatest power or death power in the world. But at the same time, they might be able to work around it. Now we got the Browns. Now the Browns defense was so good these recent years just because they have Myles Garrett. They don't have Myles Garrett anymore, so what is that going to feel like? Plus it just kind of feels like the Browns have actually been allowing a lot of touchdowns other than Myles Garrett, especially in the secondary last year. I'm gonna put them at not ideal. Like I said, their defense was really, really heavy relied on Myles Garrett, and if he wasn't doing anything, then the teams were just racking up points on the Cleveland Browns. So I'm gonna say not ideal. Now we got the Packers. Do I rank this with fully healthy, or do we rank this with like the Packers? I mean, the Packers have a decent defense. I mean, it's not the best, it's not the worst in the world. It's basically kind of the same story. The Chiefs, Michael Parsons, when he's coming back, he's going to lead that team. But I'm going to go based off healthy. When everybody's healthy, I think this defense is just average. Like I said, the Packers have a fair share of moments that they just go out there and allow points. But at the same time, we also seen at times last season where they just allow close to no points. So I thought I'll put them in average. Now we got the Lions. Like I said, the Lions, they also have good moments. Like, they have a lot of star power out there. They have Aiden Hutchinson, which I do think he should be candidate for one of the best defensive players in football right now. Um, they do have a lot of quarterback and safety threats out there. The ones I do like, I think they have a couple of them. Brian Branch, especially. I think he's gonna be. I think I like the way he's been playing. Kobe Joseph. Love the way he's been playing. Like I said, they got some tools, but at the same time, they have their fair share of moments that they just allowed like 100 points too. So I think it's kind of like in the same situation as the Detroit Lions. So I'll put them in average as well. Now we got the Texans, absolutely elite. Should be one of the best defensive units in football. Should be at least one of the best defensive units in football. I mean, the team is just dominant outside the ball. I mean, they'll kill you on either side of the ball. I don't think we need to really explain about too much for the Texans, because the Texans got some good threats from everywhere side of the ball. Their D line is nasty. Their cornerbacks are pretty good. Their safety unit's pretty good. I mean, just all around, the Texans defense is just phenomenal. Now we got the Bills. The Bills, they have a decent defense. I mean, I definitely can't call it the best thing in the world, because they'd have their fair share of moments they want to go out there and just allow points, especially to really good offensive teams. But at the same time, like, we've seen at times where their defense definitely picks up, and we've seen when their defense picks up, they're hard to stop because they're on a full momentum. Because when they're on the momentum, they just rule the game. Like, they just completely take over. So I'll put them at decent. We've seen their fair share of lows, but we do seen their fair share of highs before. Now we got the Bucks. The Bucks, like I said, the Bucks also have a decent defense. I mean, it's like I said, it's not the craziest thing in the world. Now Vita Veta, I think he's going to be absolutely spectacular this year. I did hear that he was actually in a trade conversation, but I do think he is going to return in Tampa. Therefore, I do think he's going to lead that defense. And the Bucks actually have some young studs out there, so beware for the Bucks. I think they'll be a decent defensive team, but not the greatest though. Now we have the Colts. Not ideal. I'm actually not too big of a fan of the Colts defense, to be completely honest. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. I'm sure they could be better. They could be better than what I'm expecting here, but like I said, I'm just not really expecting the Colts to be the best unit in the world, even with Sauce Gardner. Now we got Denver. Yeah, like I said, Denver, they have one of the best defenses in the NFL. They should have, like, they're kind of like right up there with the Texans. Like, they have so many defensive threat people in there, especially Pat Surtain, probably the best defensive core, probably one of the better defensive players in all of football. I was getting ready to say just by position, but he's probably one of the best defensive players in football. I think the defense, I think it showed last year that they're one of the best defensive units in football. They're all menaces. I think they're just kind of like on the same story as the Texans. Now we got the Chargers. Actually, to believe it or not, I actually do like the Chargers defense. I think the Chargers actually have a pretty solid defense. I mean, they seem like a defense. They seemed like really good against the run last year. I mean, I'll give the Chargers credit. I mean, they kind of looked pretty good doing that right last year, right? And I think they had their fair share of moments majority of the times of the season where they actually held their own. I think they kind of it just kind of felt like a lot of times last year they lost because their offense couldn't produce. I mean, it wasn't the defense. Like, I thought the defense did their job majority of the time. It was just the offense that just couldn't do anything. Now we got the Giants. Not ideal. Like I said, the Giants is just another defense I'm just not the fan of, because they do have a lot of low moments last year. I mean, maybe it took an extra step this year, but I'm just not really feeling the Giants defense this year. Now we got the Eagles. Are the Eagles a top 5 defense for me? I mean they're close, but no, I'm gonna put them at pretty good. But the Eagles do have a good unit though. I mean, especially down at defensive end, and they actually have some good safeties that like there too. They're a solid defensive team for sure. Now we got Atlanta. I don't know about Atlanta. Atlanta's defense is just very questionable. You just don't know what you're gonna get out of them. I mean, at some points we seen other defenses one of the best in football. We also seen points this year or points last year that they could be one of the worst in football. So I don't think there's any way to settle this. I just think they're decent. They're a decent. They're a decent unit that sometimes they'll get after you, sometimes they won't. They are the exact definition of decent. Next up, we got the Patriots. The Patriots had a pretty good defensive unit last year. I'll give it to them. I think they have a pretty good unit now. Christian Gonzalez, I think he's still one of the best out there. They have a lot of studs out there, and especially in the quarterback situation. They got the Patriots just kind of feel like a team that just has a lot of above average players on the roster that can be a lot that can definitely make a difference on defense. So definitely, I would think they are definitely an above average defense for sure, especially what I've seen last year for the most part. Now we got the Steelers. I mean, their defense is always good. I mean, this Steelers defense it's I don't think we ever seen a season where, especially in the Mike Tomlin era, when their defense was bad. I think their defense has always been pretty stout. Now curious what they're going to be doing this year, especially led by Mike McCarthy this year. Is either defense, either rhythm changes a little bit, but throughout what we've been seeing from the Steelers, it's basically relying on their defense to win games, kind of like Cleveland. And I do think they have a pretty good unit, especially led by T.J. Watt. Now we got the Bears. Listen, as good as the Bears team and the good as the teams I think they are, I think their defense is not ideal. I'm not a fan of the Bears defense, especially what you saw last year, especially in the secondary. I mean, their defense, that's where their defense lacks the most. It's definitely in the secondary. This team is not good in the secondary. Just don't think they're a really good unit. I mean, other than like maybe all line a little bit, maybe with the D line, maybe they're somewhat special there, but not the biggest fan of this Bears defense. Now we got Tennessee. No, I'm not a fan of Tennessee's defense. As a matter of fact, I think they're terrible. I just think that Tennessee has a rough unit. I just don't think they're good. They weren't good last year. They weren't good a couple years. I think the last time these teams actually been good on defense was 2021 when we were the 1 seed in the AFC. But since then, I just don't think this team was just ever good on the defensive side of the ball. Matter of fact, I think they're going to struggle again this year. Next we got Jacksonville. Jacksonville barely touches out my top 5 in defense, but they do have a good unit. This team was actually the best defense was against the run last year. I'm not really expecting that to change this year. I still think they have a respectable unit. I think their pass rush defense is getting a lot better, and I think Liam Cohen is definitely developing to the players a little bit. Jacksonville, I do think you really have a good defensive core. Let's see if it changes this year, but I'm kind of expecting you guys, no matter what changes this year, I still expect you to be a decent core. Now we got the Vikings. If you're coached by Brian Flores, you're gonna have one of the best defenses in the NFL. Plus, the Vikings defense was pretty stout last year. I love the way how they were last year. I mean that defense is just complete. As long as you have Brian Flores as your head coach, I don't think it really matters what kind of talent that you have in that building. I just think you're going to be one of the best defensive teams in the NFL, and I do think that's what the Vikings were last year. Now we got the Saints. They weren't the greatest. I'll put them at average. I mean, they're pretty decent at times. I mean, at times we've seen times last year they would just go out there and get absolutely smoked against teams like the Rams, like the Buccaneers was. But at the same time, towards the end of the season, they were playing so well, and I think their defense actually picked up. So it's gonna be very interesting this year to see where they are and what kind of level of skill challenge they're at. But I think they're gonna be a pretty decent unit this season. Now we got the Cardinals. No, they're not. The Cardinals are not a good defensive team, man. Listen, I'm trying to preach with the Cardinals one thing, just to be at least somewhat decent at something. But when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, they're just not that. Plus, they don't really have anybody. I mean, like I said, kind of like the Dolphins situation. Their defense, I can see allowing maybe 30 some points a game. Now we got San Francisco. I mean, actually, matter of fact, like I said, as good as San Francisco's teams is, they're not really the greatest defensively, but I'll give them an average. I'll give them an average on that one. They do have some, I mean, even though they have some stouts out there, they're going to get some guys like Fred Warner, But they do have their fair share of moments where they go out there and just completely struggle on the defensive side of the ball. They do have their issues. Now, no, overall, I still think they're a really good defensive team. I think they could be a very good defensive team. I just think at times, especially when it comes down to San Francisco 49ers, I think they have sometimes where they're just not that good defensively. So for that reason, we'll put them at average. Next up, we got the Panthers. Panthers are kind of questionable too. They're kind of like not ideal or average. They're kind of like right in the middle of those two. But if I have to choose one, yes, the Panthers defense did get a lot better this offseason, but I still put them in not ideal because the Panthers defense was pretty rough in first year, and I just don't think they still have the greatest defense in the world. I do think they definitely improved for sure. It was terrible to begin this year, and I think they kind of climbed the ladder a little bit to make themselves better, and I'll definitely give them a lot of credit for that. But at the end of the day, I think the Panthers are just not an ideal defense. I don't think they have enough weapons. And last but not least, we have the Seahawks. Yes, the Seahawks defense is menacing still. I don't care. I mean, sure, they might have lost some people, people on some depth, but overall, I just think the Seahawks defense is still really good and just a unit to be forced and reckoned with, especially when it comes down to the defensive line. Alright guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. Like I said, if you guys already, make sure you guys hit that like and that subscribe button. Let me guys know in the comments what you guys disagree with. Anyway, I'm hop out of here. Get some good to see you guys watching on time. Appreciate y'all support. This is MediaNation.com. Peace out, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.